Hey guys, I figured I've got the time, I got a half hour before I gotta go to work, so I'll make another video today. Um, I don't really upload all the time, or I don't upload whenever, so, it is what it is. So, let's talk about ancestral magic and how I work with my ancestors. The way that I work with my ancestors is different than how anybody else works with them. Um, we don't, we're not, I don't follow a specific path. I don't follow a specific way of working with them, except my own. So, showed you guys my book. I work with them through a lot with meditation. I have an altar set up for them that can be rather specific. I do have witches in my ancestry that I call upon a lot. And those are the main ancestors I work with. I honor all of my ancestors. Those are the ones that I work with on a deeper level. I get my spells from them. I get visions from them about their lives and how they lived and how they died. And, I've been able to trace back to two witches that were burned in witch trials in 1597. One of my ancestors, I'm not sure if she was a grandparent, or if she was a distant relative, but she was burned in the Scottish witch trials of 1597. She admitted to it without torture. Like, she was like, yes, I'm a witch. Yes, I heal people. Yes. Like, she did not, they didn't torture her to get that information, so she admitted it point blank. Yeah. She was a healer. For the most part. She was a healer. She did healing magic. She was just all around a good person about it. But like magic today, she told people magic isn't a miracle. It's not going to heal you immediately. It takes time. And she didn't really charge people for it. She didn't. She tried to help people. But healing was only one part of her practice. She was also did enchanting magic. And she was very much so, she admitted, she was like, yeah, I spelled somebody's blade to help them. So, and so she was burned at the stake, which, as sad as it was, she was true to herself till the end. She didn't lie. She actually worked with Fae magic, and the Fae, and the Elfin Queen, who was her main deity to work with, or main being to work with was the Elven Queen. And she had a mark on her arm of her practice, like many people would do. It was a tattoo of her craft, essentially, which was seen as the devil's work and all that fun stuff. So she is one that I've been working with for a while now. She is the first ancestor I started working with. Then there's this other one who she denied being a witch for years and years and like ran away and kept on denying it. But things still added up. And she was accused 3 different times in her life. Um, so she was accused 3 different times. And because her husband had strings, could pull strings and keep her safe, she was never convicted. But 3 of her husbands died. And she was only caught because her her kids from her second 2 husbands, which weren't really her kids, they were her husband's previous kids, caught up to her, and they pretty much were like, yeah, we're gonna band together and get this woman convicted. So she was. Obviously came back that she was a witch. And even though she's my ancestor, and I should be like, well, she wasn't a witch, like, those things just happen. My spiritual workings with her reveal she was a witch, so take that as you will. And I won't tell you their names, because again, that's a personal practice of mine. I'm not going to reveal my ancestors' names. Sorry, no. There's a third one. The third one is actually an ancient ancestor. I don't know how they're related to me. I just found them through ancestral workings, through meditation, through automatic writing, automatic drawing. That's how I was able to find out about this person. And he actually pushed me to go down this path and was like, don't worry about what other people think of you. Don't worry about quote unquote cultural appropriation, which is another topic for another day. I am deathly afraid of committing cultural appropriation, so let's go that far. We'll leave it at that. I do not want to commit that. But he kept on telling me, don't worry about it, you're not committing it, you just need to find the path. He was kind of pushing me towards the path, but wasn't really telling me, and it was getting confusing. I actually purchased a tarot reading from somebody else, because I needed more answers. I need deeper answers. And the person who did the reading for me, amazing reader. The best reading I've ever had, I swear. And he pulled 2 cards. Pulled 2 cards. The reading consisted of 1 card, but then he pulled like a clarifier card. And we talked for, half hour, 40 minutes. Amazing reading. And he was very much so able to tell me, like, don't worry about what other people think of you. They're not going to say you're committing cultural appropriation. Like, that is just not something that most people say. That is not something that most people are like, yeah, you're committing cultural appropriation. That's bad. So that's kind of how I started on this ancestral path. Now, what meditations do I use? Honestly, I use sleep meditations. I use just look on YouTube. Those are the meditations I use. I don't have a specific one that I like to use more than the others. I just put my headphones in, lie down, turn on the meditations, and they're guided meditations, so I go with that. Now, how do I talk to my ancestors? I have this whole ritual that I do. I use fire scrying, water scrying, and crystals. as well as blood magic when I'm going to work with my ancestors. I have this bowl that sits on my ancestral altar that's got crystals in the bottom of it, and then it's filled with water. And I light 3 to 5 candles. Oftentimes, like the first ancestor, she communicates with me through the fire. I try to get her to communicate through the water, but she always does fire. And then the second one, it hasn't come through too much, except in visions and in my meditations. The other one doesn't, like, I have to purposely go out and find him when I'm seeking his advice and his answers, and even then he's very vague about it. That's why I say he's an ancient ancestor, because he's very closed off. So getting answers from him is like trying to find a needle in a needle sack. Like, you know, they're there, but it's how do they fit together? Alright, so yeah, that's just pretty much what I do. Like I said, I get spells from my ancestors, and like after the title page, the second page is blank. And I did that on purpose. I left it blank because I'm waiting for them to send me a like a prying eyes type of spell and a protection spell for this grimoire. Because again, all the spells that are going in this book are going to be given to me from my ancestors. They're not ones that I'm going to make on my own. My reason for that is because I believe that when working with my ancestors, it is my ancestors' magic that I will be using. Therefore, I won't create spells and put it in this book. I'll create spells and they'll go in my other book, but they won't go in this one. So, how do my deities feel about me working with my ancestors? Hell, the Norse goddess of the underworld, actually told me that my bloodline has been working with her for ages, and that is why we connect so well together. She could not tell me. I had to find that out on my own. And that actually just came to me in a vision one night when I was getting ready for bed. I had finished my meditation and I went to lay down and go to sleep, and my eyes went blank, and I was just laying there for a few minutes, and she was sending me these messages through me, and it was a really positive and powerful experience. So hell now has a place on my ancestor altar. This video might be taken down at some point. I'm not sure what I'm going to do quite yet. Just because if they don't like it and they don't want it up and out there, I can't really share this part of my practice then. If they're okay with it, I can share more, and I will do more videos if they allow it. But we'll see. Speaking of which, no pun intended. When it comes to ancestors, blood does not always make the ancestor. I'm just gonna put that out there. If somebody is adopted, they've now adopted that whole family line forward. So, my grandfather, for instance, he was adopted. I am trying to find out more about his bloodline side, but I do have to accept the fact that his ancestors, or his adopted ancestors, are not my ancestors, because he was adopted into the family, therefore we all were. And my great-grandmother on his side, that was his adopted grandmother, looked at us grandkids as if we were all her grandkids, because we are. So therefore, I now need to dig deeper into that side and go back farther and figure out how it's all related. Like, see what I mean there? It's definitely interesting and powerful, and an experience that I never thought was possible. I did not know that until I started talking to people about ancestors, because we're not always related to our ancestors. And that doesn't mean that we can't work with them, though. And we are related to them through adoption. It's like a spiritual adoption. It's like when we're in a covenant, we call, our covenant mates our brothers and our sisters, and it's because they are. They are now spiritually connected to us. Whether it's by blood or not, their spirit is now connected to ours in some way. So I just wanted to throw that out there and let you all know that, no, all of my ancestors are not related to me by blood. And that's fine. Now, the first one, she is related to me by blood. Second one, I'm not 100% sure if she is. If it's by blood or by adoption, because my family's got a weird mix-up there. And the third one, once you go that far back, blood is tainted and doesn't really transfer over well, so we'll see what comes from that, really. Of course, I'm going to still be digging deeper into my ancestry to find more, and I might not, and I have to be willing to accept that, and I have to be willing to accept that this might be a very spiritual path, and less so about physical knowledge and physical evidence of it. And I have to be fully prepared to accept that. And I am. But when explaining it to other people, they're not going to always understand that. And they're going to be like, well, you don't know what you're doing, then whatever. Right? So, anyways, I think this is a good part to end this video. I know it's not really a how-to guide, because I don't really have a how-to guide on this. This is something that you have to develop for yourself, especially if you're going the route that I'm going. If you're already in a established culture about ancestral magic, then this video might not help you at all. But this was more so to explain my craft and my path. So, sorry to everybody else. You missed some, you hit some. It's all based on what it is. But I hope you guys have a positive day. Live in the light and dance in the shadows. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.